Hi, welcome to another edition of Senator Kissel and Friends. I'm your host, State Senator John Kissel, serving the fabulous people in the towns of Enfield, Somers, Suffield, Windsor, Windsor Locks, East Granby, and Granby. Cindy, Nathaniel, and Tristan, I'll be home shortly, and my poor wife has to work late tonight, so we'll be thinking of you. But two ships in the night right now, that's how that goes for so many families in north central Connecticut. Mrs. Taylor, that's for you. And I'm delighted to have three fabulous guests on our program for this evening. And it's sort of nice now that summer's officially over and we're into the early fall and it's a little nippy out there at night, and that's a time where everybody loves to be in New England. But we're not going to be talking about New England on this program. We're going to be talking about military personnel, our veterans, those that are serving our nation right now. And we've got some great folks that are going to talk about initiatives that they have done and are in the midst of doing. And so to my left, Lori Gates, and she's a military spouse, mother of three, and founder of the Enfield Hooah. And the website is www.enfieldhooah.org, and it's Hooah. And one thing that I didn't know until I was brushing up for today's program is that Hooah comes from heard, understood, and acknowledged. And so it means everything but no. Correct. It means we can do anything. And so that's pretty cool. So Hooah. So Lori, thank you for being on the program.
Thanks for having me.
To Lori's left, I'm really honored to have Jean Robinson. She's the regent of the Penelope Terry Abbey chapter of the Connecticut Daughters of the American Revolution. And their website is PenelopeTerryAbbeyDAR.org. And so, Ms. Robinson, thank you so much for being on my program.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
And Kelly, it's going to be a bit of a stretch for me to get all the way down
What's the wave?
But to Ms. Robinson's left is Kelly Davis, and she's the registrar of the Penelope Terry Abbey chapter of the Connecticut Daughters of the American Revolution. And Kelly, thank you so much, or Ms. Davis, thank you for being on my program.
Thank you.
And I visited my brother. He moved to North Carolina, and I thought it was interesting that they have Daughters of the Confederacy down there. It's a little different world down there, 150 years after the Civil War, and they're still got their statues and their traditions. So I'm a New Englander, so I feels more comfortable up here in the north. So Lori, let's do some shout outs as to some of the good stuff that you've been involved in.
Been very lucky to be involved in some very good stuff. Well, let me see. We started in 2010 sending care packages overseas to folks that have a tie to Enfield, meaning they grew up here, they went to school here, mom and dad are here, or something along those lines. And each month we get to put a care package together, and it's all based upon donated goods from people all over town.
Okay.
I just drop them at the house, or they call me and say, can you pick this up? Or the schools do a care package drive or something. A little bit of everything goes in the box with a note that says, this is from your hometown, and we're thinking of you, and we haven't forgotten where you
Really?
are.
So anybody can go out to a store and pick up a couple of things?
Exactly.
It can be anything?
Anything. Well, we don't send chocolate bars because they melt most of the time.
Okay.
But other than that, pretty much anything.
Are there things that they really appreciate that you get?
They seem to like the local newspapers because they can
Okay.
catch up on stuff from home. Beef jerky, bubble gum, and socks.
Wow.
They don't have everything, sand is in everything.
Oh, okay.
So they get a nice pair of clean white socks, at least for one night.
Yeah.
They're
All
clean
right.
and sand-free. So we've been doing that. We've had over 100 care packages go out since 2010, getting good response. We don't ask for a response back from the service member because we know they're busy, but we do get emails home and periodically. And when some of the kids have sent letters, the different schools have done letter writing drives or pictures and whatnot. They really react to the little kids sending them, glitter pictures and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's been good. And we did a cookie drive. Well, we're doing it annually. Cookies for Camouflage, the Sunday after Thanksgiving. This will be our third
Oh,
year.
wow, that's not that far away.
No. And
Couple months.
I had no idea what I was getting into when we started it because we just said, anybody who wants to bring baked goods down, we'll send them to one of the deployed soldiers. I had 4 deployed soldiers registered that year, and we collected 346 pounds of cookies.
That's a lot of cookies for those 4
Yes.
guys, or 4 men and women. I don't know if they were all guys, but that's a lot. I'm sure they shared.
That's what I hear. And then the following year, we thought, okay, well, let's figure on 346 pounds. At least we knew how many boxes to bring and whatnot. We opened it up to the area. Instead of just being from Enfield, we decided let's not bombard 4 people with 85 pounds of cookies each. We wound up with 17 recipients. One of them was Greg Karen, who was injured on Veterans Day last year. We managed to send his cookies down to the hospital because some of his service members that he was with from his unit were on the cookie drive, so they were getting from the same, grouping. Well, we collected 551 pounds of cookies.
Wow, that's a lot of cookies.
Fearful that this year is going to be 700 and something.
Wow, and did you have this all go to your house, or where's this?
We held it at American Legion Post 80
Okay.
from 11 to 3.
Okay.
And so we had all the boxes set up, pictures of the service members, a little bit of information, so people could come in and just walk over to a box if they wanted and put in a specific service member's box. Or
So let's say if our family wanted to just make brownies or something else like that, that's all okay?
Yep, you just
And
show up
bring
with
to
it in a
Post 80.
Ziploc
And
bag.
where's Post 80 located?
566 Enfield Street.
Okay. With the very large flag and pole in front of it?
Yes, and we put a sign out in front that says cookies for camouflage today.
And what day is it again?
Sunday, November 25th from 11 to 3.
So it's the Sunday after Thanksgiving?
Correct.
Okay. Everybody's in the holiday spirit at that time.
Exactly.
And so
That's when people are the most
Share
generous.
the wealth. Jean, Daughters of the American Revolution, very neat organization. What have you been involved with in your position as regent? And actually for our audience, they may not even know what regent means, and if you could sort of say what it's all about.
Well, our chapter was founded.
And if Jean's okay, or I can say Ms.
of
Robinson.
course,
Okay.
of course. Our chapter was founded in 1922 here in Enfield, and
Okay.
we've just celebrated our 90th anniversary with a big party last February. We are involved with the 3 main things that are our primary mission, both at the local level and at the national level. One is promoting patriotism, the second is preserving history, and the third is educating our children. We started Wreaths Across America, of which all 3 of us are on the committee, 5 years ago. Our chapter brought it to Enfield the first year. I had been inspired when Merle Worcester, who's the founder of this movement, did a presentation for us at a state DAR dinner.
Okay.
And the concept was just so wonderful that we wanted to get involved in a large way.
Now, for those folks in our audience that may not know what Wreaths Across America is, if you could just explain that a little bit and how you were extremely instrumental or led the way to get them to sort of move off their sort of path and stop at Parkman School, I believe.
Well, I'll let Lori talk more about that part of it. Basically, we have a ceremony every year in December as a way of honoring and remembering all of our veterans. And the organization itself in Maine provides us with 7 wreaths, one for each branch of the service and one for the POW MIAs.
Okay.
And so the ceremony is held the same time, 12 o'clock noon, everywhere that the ceremony is held. So all the ceremonies are going on at exactly the same time. This year there are more than 750 locations.
Wow.
And for us, we're going to be holding it at St. Patrick's Cemetery on King Street in Enfield at noon at the flagpole.
So Jean, with the Wreaths Across America, you indicated that the group up in Maine donates the wreaths. Is there a specific path that those wreaths travel? Do they have a destination? Is it Washington, D.C.?
Yes, the wreaths are trucked by many companies volunteering their services and their drivers and their trucks from Harrington, Maine, down to the National Cemetery in Arlington.
Okay. Now, I've seen the trucks come to Parkman School here in Enfield, and those trucks are huge, but if you're saying there's 7 wreaths, are these, I'm thinking little small wreaths, are these giant wreaths, or how?
Well, for each location, they get 7 wreaths, and then on top of that, people can also order wreaths to lay on the graves of their own veterans or family members who are veterans,
Oh,
loved
okay.
ones. So it's really several components.
Okay.
There's the ceremony itself, which is anybody can attend.
Okay.
There is the purchase of the wreaths, which people are welcome to attend, but certainly don't have to make a donation in order to be at the ceremony. It's really up to the individuals.
And how if you, no chuckling over here. And if you want to order the wreaths, how would you go about doing that?
There's 3 ways to do it. You can go online to www.wreathsacrossamerica.org. You can do it by telephone,
Okay.
and that the first 2 methods require a credit card. We also have order forms that folks can fill out and mail in. The important thing is that you code it so that the wreath will be delivered to St. Patrick's Cemetery.
Okay. Very good. Now, Kelly, as the registrar of the Daughters of the American Revolution, what job do you play, and how are you involved in all of this? Because certainly you're involved in this.
Yeah, my job for the daughters is to help people become members. So I help them with their application process and doing some of their genealogy research. But for the Wreaths Across America, I'm on the committee, and I've done been the master of ceremony for a year. I help with the behind-the-scenes coordinating, try to sell some of the wreaths. One of our goals is to gather more wreaths to put on the veterans' graves at St. Patrick's. They have over 1,400 veterans in that cemetery alone.
Wow, that's huge.
Enfield has always come forward at time of war or non-war as far as their veterans. So we have a lot in the town, and the whole ceremony is just to thank them and to teach our children. It's very inspiring to be there and have the young children. We've had the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts involved. People have had even younger come in with their flags and pay attention to the ceremony. You can see parents teaching their children what it's about.
Now,
it's very inspiring.
Now, it's the same day every year. What day of the year is the ceremony?
It's usually it's a Saturday in December.
Oh, okay.
And it had been the second Saturday, but the way the calendar went out this year, it's going to be the third Saturday. It's December 15th.
December 15th,
Yeah.
okay. So folks are around December 15th, and they go to the King Street Cemetery, St. Patrick's King Street Cemetery at noontime. They will probably not be able to miss the ceremony. It would be, is it in a certain spot up at the top of the hill, or?
It's at the top of the hill by the flagpole
Okay.
and the 2 veterans monument stones that are there.
Okay, great. And so I think that would be pretty neat thing to attend, and probably moving, I would guess.
And please dress warmly.
Dress warmly, absolutely. Kelly, also, you said that you try to get people involved in joining the Daughters of the American Revolution. What kind of criteria does one have to try to become a member?
It has to be a female,
Okay.
18 years or older.
Shoot, I'm out.
And she has to have a direct descendant as a patriot. It doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that fought. It could be, now my mind goes blank, but any kind of patriotic service. They could have donated supplies. They could have been one of the signers of the Declaration. There's many areas besides just serving in the war.
Sure. Now, to me, that would be probably tricky to try to get that genealogy nailed down. I mean, how do people go about doing that?
You start with yourself and you work backwards. You know, you go from yourself to your parents, to your grandparents, to your great-grandparents, and our age now, it's probably the 7th or 8th generation back.
Okay. So you never know. I mean,
You never know.
yeah, there's Nathaniel's my oldest son, and there was a Nathaniel Green. Now, the Nathaniel Green, that the family history was Civil War, but then in my study of history, I'm wondering if that Nathaniel Green was named Nathaniel Green because there was a Revolutionary War general, a very successful one, named Nathaniel Green, that I believe won some significant battles in the
Yes.
South, but hailed from Rhode Island.
Could very well be.
Is my understanding. So, for those of you who are interested, who have your genealogy down, I'm sure you're always open to have lots of new members come.
We'd love to have as many as we can get.
And if they can go pretty far back, but maybe they need a little assist or a little guidance, you guys can do that for them as well.
Yes.
Okay, now, Lori, back to you. You're no escaping. We want to do some shout outs, and we want to plug some things that may be coming up that people in our audience can be of assistance with. So let's.
Well, we talked about the cookie drive already, so
Yep.
if you have leftover baked goods or you feel like baking cookies on Thanksgiving weekend, please package them up in a Ziploc and come on down. Put a note in it if you want to the soldiers. Let them know where it came from, that you're thinking of them.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be super fancy
No,
or
not at
ribbon
all.
tied box or anything like
Although
that.
we've had those, but
Okay.
no, it doesn't have to be. And we'll let you put it in the box of your choice. If you want to pick the person you're sending it to, by all means, please do. One of the major burdens of doing the cookie drive is also paying the postage for the cookie drive.
So financial donations are always welcome.
Absolutely. I usually bring my husband's field box and leave it open, and people are very generous, and they stop and they throw a couple dollars in here and there, and
Okay.
that certainly defrays the cost. With Wreaths Across America, we are honored for the second year in a row to have one of the convoy trucks headed to Arlington pulling off and coming through Enfield to stop at Parkman.
Okay.
That will be Tuesday, December 11th in the morning. So far, it looks like the time will be 9:30 for Parkman's arrival.
Okay.
But we'll be publishing a map. Get out on the side of the road with your flags, show your enthusiasm. These wreaths that are in that truck, there's roughly 5,000 of them per truck.
That's why the trucks are so big.
And they're headed down to Arlington, so they're making 4 to 6 stops in the whole state of Connecticut, and then they head directly to Arlington with those
Wow.
wreaths.
So we got pretty lucky that they're
Very lucky.
Yeah, stopping
We're
in.
very lucky.
And so we've sort of have a little bit of tradition developing here in our state
Yeah.
as well.
And last year was the first year they came here, and so everything was new, the new assembly, everything that we did. The kids did a wonderful job.
It was really nice. I want to thank
You
you
were
again
there.
for inviting me and letting me. I think I said a few words, and it was really
It was a
very,
it was,
very nice.
It was a
very
nice assembly. Those the kids, there was flags waving at times. They were never told to do it. They really got into it. And when I asked, is there a possibility of them coming back, they said they definitely were coming back to Enfield because they've seen patriotic towns, but this is Enfield and it's totally different. So they were
Wow.
definitely coming back. So
I
thank you
bet.
to everybody
Yeah.
who came out last year.
Enfield and all the towns in north central Connecticut, but in particular, there's just so many veterans
Yes.
in Enfield, and it just has that time-honored tradition. I think it was my understanding of the history, and I got this from Ted Plumunden, who was a great guy. More folks from Enfield per capita enlisted to serve in World War II than any other town in Connecticut.
That's what I've heard.
And I'm thinking that probably puts us in a good position nationally as well. So
yeah.
that's really significant, really significant.
I'm trying to collect more veteran biographies for the site, just for the awareness purposes. You look down your street in wintertime and there's an older gentleman who's shoveling their driveway.
Sure.
If you looked on the website and you saw that he was a World War II veteran or Korean War veteran, you might be more apt to go out and help him out because
Yeah.
he's already done something for you. So it's for the awareness. So if there's any veterans out there that would like to put their biography on the website, please contact me. I'd be happy to do it. It's so important that we're aware of who has done so much for all of us
And
because they don't talk about it themselves.
No, and in fact, during the words that I gave at the Veterans Appreciation Day on Saturday that we just had, I indicated that my step-grandfather, who was wounded at Pearl, never wanted to talk about it, and then he served in the Pacific Theater, didn't really want to talk about that. My dad, who served in Korea, never really wanted to talk about that, and my uncle was in Vietnam, didn't really want to talk about that. Didn't mind talking about his submarine service, but when they were engaged in in fighting and things like that, I think that those are difficult memories.
Oh, yeah.
And so we just can't say thanks enough. And when you said recognizing the veteran that might be in your neighborhood, I read somewhere that there was an individual who was having a hard time keeping up his lawn and house and things, and that within like 2 hours, you and a crew went and just helped him out.
It's a huge amount of stuff at the curb, but yes. Well, and those are the things that veterans, military personnel, their families, they don't raise their hand and say, we need help.
Right.
They're going to shoulder it themselves and do it themselves. So it takes somebody else being aware that they're there to say, you know what, this guy needs help with his yard, or this guy's getting a little too old to shovel his driveway, or this kid doesn't have his father here. Is there anybody that could take him to a ball game? It just takes somebody else being aware so that they can say something and we can jump in and try to help.
So if people want to find your website, all they have to do is sort of Google Enfield Hooah.
You got it. Or
And
directly.org, yes.
or .org. I just go by the words. I do Google search or whatever the search engine is. But that's a good way. And when you get to the website, there's a way to donate? And
Yep, there's
information?
different links to different parts of it. My email address is on there. There's a couple different places you can hit contact, and it'll come directly to me, or they can email me directly.
Okay.
So,
And you're sort of linked in with Facebook and all of that stuff
yes,
as
we
well?
have a Facebook page. It's it's two separate words, Enfield, Hooah. I didn't put them
Okay.
all together. We have a Facebook page and communicate with different members that way also. And we're updating the website, so we will be able to communicate more within the website, and the Facebook page will correspond with that, so it'll be more interactive and together as opposed to two separate things.
Awesome. Now, I have to ask this question of Jean and Kelly. You're members of the Daughters of American Revolution. Can you just tell our audience who was the person that you're related to and what did they do in the Revolution? Because I think that's really cool. I love history. And so, Jean, I'm going to ask you first.
All right. Well, I could talk an hour and a half about one of my ancestors, but I won't do that to you.
I would love it, but I think the people in our control booth we run out of time.
I'm related to a man called Woolsey Hathaway.
Okay.
He was from Delaware.
And his first name is Woolsey?
Woolsey.
Woolsey Hathaway.
Family name. And he was a privateer during the Revolutionary War.
Which meant that he would go and sort of attack British ships.
Well, in his case, the family says he was a rum runner, but he was moving goods in and out along the coast.
Aha.
And he had a very shallow boat that he was using, because there were areas that the British would not attempt to sail their ships into.
Okay.
Because
So
of
he
the-
wasn't attacking the British ships. He was bringing
No.
in goods
Yes.
because no taxation without representation, and then the British levied huge taxes on
He
stuff.
was running between the Caribbean and Edenton, North Carolina.
Wow. Wow.
Now, he did get caught and ended up on a British prisoner of war ship in New York Harbor.
Oh, I think I've seen stories about that. That was not a good place to be at all.
No, very bad.
Yeah. Yeah, people died on those ships.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, it was pretty miserable. Really, really bad. Wow, did he survive?
He survived the war.
Wow,
he
Woolsey tough.
moved to North Carolina. He bought land there, created a plantation, and started his own family dynasty.
Wow. All right, when I invite you back on our next program, we'll talk more about Woolsey, but that's a really good story. I was going to ask if Hathaway Street is named after him, but if he's from, Delaware? Probably not, but that's really cool.
Well, he's actually from the Hathaway line that married into the Mayflower, two of the Mayflower families. So
Wow.
the line goes all the way back to about 1630.
Wow. And Kelly?
I actually have 4 patriots now, but the one I joined under was Thomas Millett, and he was out of Gloucester, Massachusetts. And he was also a prisoner of war on the Hancock ship, but he escaped and swam to shore and made
Is
it
this
back.
the same
and,
ship that was in New York Harbor?
Yep, and fought another day.
Wow.
And he had been gone so long that his wife had actually thought he had died, so she moved away, and she had moved to Gloucester, Maine, and he tracked her down, and they settled the town of Leeds, Maine, together.
Huh, really?
Yep.
So he was originally from Gloucester, Mass, and then she goes to Gloucester, Maine.
Maine.
It's like,
Yep.
they must have really liked that name. We're down to less than 5 minutes. See how fast this program is going. And I find that stuff fascinating. One of my degrees is in history, and I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. And it's great for our young people to know these stories too, because America has such a rich and storied past. It's just great to sort of keep track of it all. Since we're down to our last 5 minutes, I'll start with you, Kelly. Is there anything that you want to pitch or plug, or that we haven't touched bases on that you want to make sure that our audience knows about?
I'm really here to pitch the Wreaths Across America.
Okay.
And the more people that come to that on Saturday, it's a very moving ceremony. And it's inspiring to know that over 700 ceremonies are taking place at the same time, and we're honoring all veterans, past, present, future.
So December 15th,
Yep.
noontime.
Noon, St. Patrick's at the flagpole.
At the flagpole.
Can't miss us.
There we go. All right. And Jean, something that perhaps you want to make sure that we underscore and that our audience really is aware of, or maybe something that we didn't touch upon yet?
Well, I wanted to step back for an activity that we just recently completed. Our
Okay.
chapter did. The wonderful people of the town of Enfield donated goods for the stand down at the Rocky Hill State Veterans
Oh,
Hospital,
yes, yes.
which was on September the 21st. And I would like to thank everybody that contributed to that.
You know, all those things are so important. I mean, just like toothpaste and things for all the veterans out there, many of them in need. And my understanding of the stand down is that that really fills a void that's out there for a lot of these folks. And we don't want them to think that they're forgotten. They are absolutely not forgotten. If it weren't for them, you know, we live in a dangerous world. And not everybody out there is our friends. So that was awesome. You guys are awesome. And Lori, any last points that we have to?
No, the only thing I would say is that Enfield Hooah belongs pretty much to everybody. So if you want to get involved, if you have a suggestion, please give the suggestion or get the idea or whatever, because it's only as good as the information it contains.
And you're just so visible and you're so active. And again, Hooah, heard, understood, acknowledged. No is not in their vocabulary,
That's
right?
right, that's right.
Everything's possible, and those are our veterans. Those are the people serving right now in some
Exactly.
very, very dangerous places. So
Yes.
I'm guessing that we're probably coming to the end of the program, so I want to thank all of you right now, and make sure that we have plenty of time for our sign-off. To my left, Lori Gates. She's the founder of Enfield Hooah, and you can Google that and or just www.enfieldhooah.org. And the phone is 860-741-9898. A lot of good things coming up in the next few months to help our veterans. Lori, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
To Lori's left, Ms. Jean Robinson. She is the regent of the Penelope Terry Abbey chapter of the Connecticut Daughters of the American Revolution. And it's CTDAR, the website, Penelope Terry Abbey DAR.org. Ms. Robinson, Jean, thank you so much for being on the program.
Well, thank you, Senator.
Oh man, some awesome stuff. And to Jean's left, Kelly Davis. She's the registrar of the Penelope Terry Abbey chapter of the Connecticut Daughters of the American Revolution. And she has also been these wonderful ladies, Jean and Kelly, have helped with Wreaths Across America, and that's fabulous. And so I'll do the reach right now. Thank you so much for being on the program. I'm your host, State Senator John Kissel. Thank you for tuning in to this fabulous program. You can go to these websites, the Penelope Terry Abbey.org or DAR.org. You can Google, search engine that, and you'll find them. And Enfield Hooah, you'll Google that, and you can find that. And you can help out in so many different ways. So thank you so much for tuning in. Cindy, Nathaniel, and Tristan, I shall be home soon. Mrs. Taylor, this is for you. I'm State Senator John Kissel, serving the fabulous people of Enfield, Suffield, Somers, Windsor, Windsor Locks, East Granby, and Granby. Thank you so much for tuning in. Enjoy fall and get out there and do lots of fun things and help your neighbors and our veterans. Thank you.